there were 4 of us. I think Jack Hawkins was there. Jack Hawkins was in charge of Enter at that time. It's before he made all those films. And there were 4 of us. Anyway, we were going to play cards, but there was a young officer called Lieutenant Campbell. I was the accountant there, by the way. And also that's why I fell out with Jack Hawkins, because he was spending so much of it nothing money. So that's by the way. And this young Lieutenant Campbell, he said, I'm going down to Mount Lavinia for the swims. I don't play cards, it's an old man's game. He got on his powerful motorbike and off he went. Round about midnight the telephone rang and it was a Singalese police. Do you have a Lieutenant Campbell there, living there? I said, yes. He said, well, I'm afraid he's been killed. We've got his body here in the morgue. His motorbike ran into the back of a bullock cart. We buried him the next day. I acted as a pallbearer. And also, ironically, I had to pay 800 rupees to the bullock cart driver for damage to his bullock cart. So that was the end of poor old Campbell. Now, because I fell out with Jack Hawkins, he had me transferred from Colombo to Bombay to be under his wing, I suppose, and I didn't like it in Bombay a bit. But fortunately, Ernest Dennis took over from Jack Hawkins and he became in charge of all of the answer, and he sent me to Rangoon, promoted me to captain, and I went out to relieve Major Whitmore. But we went out on a boat called the Empire Rani. It was a German boat captured from the Germans, and there were 26 officers with 350 Indian troops aboard. And the name of the captain was Captain Bibby, and actually he belonged to the Bibby line of ships. He was a well-to-do chap. He was only a young fellow. This was his first assignment as a captain. But halfway into the Indian Ocean, the troops mutinied because half were Mohammedans, the other half were Hindus, and they refused to eat the food prepared on the same cooking gas. And the stokers, who were also Mohammedans, came up on deck as well, and the ship stopped in the middle of the flaming ocean. Bibby came into our mess. He said, well, now this is a bit awkward. And of course the latrines that we had to use, we had to walk through the Indians. And any time there's any trouble with the Indians, there was in the Indian Mutiny in 1857, they turned on the British officers. Anyway, Bibby sorted it out. He built another burning gap after the funnel, so that the Hindus could cook at the front and the Mohammedans at the back. And then the Sikhs came to him and said, we want one as well. But there were only 6 of them, so he settled that. So anyway, I arrived in Rangoon with no more trouble. But the second night, there's Whitmore and he and myself, Whitmore, myself and Lieutenant Deacock, we went down to the officers' club. And Whitmore had more to drink than he should have done. We came out, and instead of, he said to the driver, the Burmese driver of the jeep, I'll drive. Left-hand side drive it was. So the driver got into the back of the Lieutenant Deacock, Whitmore got behind the steering wheel, and I got sat at the side of him at the right. Left the officers' club, we went round the big stool pagoda, the big temple there. I saw this tram standard coming toward us in the middle of the road. And instinctively, or I think something else made me do it, I leaned out, put my hands on the side of the windscreen, and as we hit the tram standard, I shot out, hit my head on the side of the van and my nose and my ankle bone, I remember turning over on my back and seeing the full moon. Then I hit the ground and slithered into the gutter. A couple of soldiers came and picked me up. I said, "You better go and have a look at the Major, Sergeant. Well, he's got the steering wheel in his chest." So they carted us off to hospital. He was worse than me, but anyway, I was in about 3 weeks. I had 12 stitches across the ear. They shaved all the hair off here, and I had 12 stitches here. I've still got the mark on my nose, and I've still got a chipped ankle bone. But anyway, I went back to the officers' mess, and we were housing at that time a party called Stars in Battle Dress, because there was no room for them in the hostel. And as I was sitting at the table one day, looking like a monk, one of the girls of this army concert party came and said, "Do you mind if I make a sketch of you?" I thought, I was drinking my whiskey. I thought, "What on earth have I got to make a sketch of me for?" Anyway, she did. She got out a drawing pad and sat and made a likeness. Her name was Betty Bamford, Sergeant Bamford. Anyway, we struck up quite a friendship. And then they had to go on tour. We were closing down Ensa in Rangoon. There are a lot of stories I could tell about it, but we'll leave it at that and say that we both came home on the same ship, the Ormond. And in all the 5 weeks, we never fell out once. In fact, it matured into more than friendship. So it was a basis for marriage.